Hello guys, so we are now in Dubai at Token 2049 and here with you Anna Tutova, co-founder of Cointelegram, and our guest Tian Li, who is co-founder of Pendle Finance, and they have quite active platform which enables you to tokenize your yield and earn profits and interest on your yield, and as well they have already TVL of $4.6 billion and trading volume of over $13 billion and have quite active development now. So great to have you here, Tian.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So can you tell us about your background? How did you discover crypto and blockchain first?
I started out in crypto in 2014 when I was doing research work for a professor. So I was mostly involved in the fintech sector, and I was exposed to Bitcoin through one of the businesses that I was researching on. So subsequently, I became a lot more interested in cryptocurrency because I saw it as a game changer in the fintech sector. And then in 2015, Ethereum was introduced. I became quite fascinated by the whole concept of smart contract and then deep dived into it. My career in crypto started professionally in 2017 when I joined Kyber as one of the founding team members, and I stayed on until the end of 2018. So after which, my current set of co-founders, we were mostly just exploring different types of business ideas. And you know, between like 2019 and 2020, we had quite a lot of unsuccessful ventures before we decided to work exclusively on Pendle.
And in what did you see the value of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other cryptocurrencies back then?
I figured, yeah, because it was able to achieve a task that we take for granted for so long at a fraction of the cost. So as an example, I think the use case that I was most excited about when I was first exposed to the concept of Bitcoin was when I learned about remittance business, and this particular company used Bitcoin as a remittance tool. So it was able to achieve the same kind of outcome for end users at a fraction of the cost. And I thought it was completely transformational in its own way.
And as well, can you tell the story, how did the idea of starting Pendle come to you?
So back in 2020 DeFi summer, my co-founders and I, we were farming a lot of shitcoins. So all these food coins, it started from YAM and many others. They were offering 10, 20,000% in APYs. We love the APYs, but we also realized that there was no good way for us to lock in the yield. And when we look across to the TradFi sector, it occurred to us that there's like fixed income product is actually a very significant component of any financial sector, but it was largely absent in crypto. So because innately we also want some form of certainty, we decided to work on a product implementation that could first and foremost fulfill our own needs in getting fixed yield. And we started to explore like different kind of ideas that could enable that. Yeah.
So with which coins did you start?
YAM Finance, yeah. YAM Finance, back in, I think it must have been like the July or August period of 2020.
And as well, currently you have like different rates of the yield, and you have like STs, just 4%, and then you have like E's and RSEs, like over 37, 38% yield.
Yep.
So can you tell more about it and why is there such a big difference?
Yeah, because I think fundamentally like these two markets are quite different, even though the underlying's ETH. So with STETH, the yield is actually from the staking yield. So it hovers generally between 3 and 6%. So currently, I believe it's around 4%. Whereas like a restaking yield, there are like different components that people are very interested in, and ultimately that resulted in more demand for one side, and consequently resulted in very attractive fixed yield. At its peak, it was trading at around 65% fixed APY, But yeah, currently it's around 30-something%, which is still relatively attractive.
And can you tell us who are most of your users? You have a lot of institutional users, so is this mostly retail?
I think the number of users right now, in terms of profile, it's actually relatively diverse. We have a group of institutional users. We also have quite a broad base of retail users. So for the retail users, they generally are more interested in the YT side because they want to get more exposure in the upcoming, like in points and upcoming tokens. For the larger institutions, they generally gravitate towards the fixed yield side. So like 50-60% fixed yield can be very attractive for institutions that's managing maybe tens of millions in AUM. So this is how we see the dynamics play out between the two sides.
And how do you generally see the current state of the market and institutional adoption of crypto?
I think the institutional adoption of crypto is definitely improving. With the passing of Bitcoin ETF at the start of the year, I think people have become a lot more comfortable with the idea of cryptocurrency. Some people can also do it a lot more easily because of the availability on exchanges and other brokers. And in terms of the state of the market, I remain long-term bullish. Right now, there seems to be a little bit of correction because of macro environment and the uncertainty in the region.
Do you have any price targets for Bitcoin by the end of this year?
It's hard, but I think it's very possible for it to exceed 100 grand.
Hopefully. And how do you see as well development of DeFi?
Yeah, I think like DeFi continues to be a very interesting sector in general. There will be innovative products that will come out every now and then like for this particular cycle, points is one of the newer innovations. But subsequently, I think there could be very interesting plays between the different types of assets. Because like crypto, ultimately, I think one of the biggest propositions of DeFi is composability. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see real-world asset getting played out, and then assets from that is backed by RWAs get tokenized and then traded or made composable with some instruments in DeFi, and then be part of a bigger strategy that can improve the overall effective APY for users.
Do you plan as well on your side to get into real-world assets exposure and giving yields on real-world assets?
Again, like this is a big trend that we are all very looking forward to. We are optimistic that it will happen one way or another. From a product standpoint, because like our product is a second-order derivative, we don't actually have to be the first mover. We will continue to monitor the trend, and if it makes sense, we will make implementations to cater to the need from the community.
And as well, just a few days ago, there was adopted Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETFs in Hong Kong, and you're as well based in Asia and Singapore. So how do you see the impact of that adoption on the market, and as well how may it influence as well the staking and yields for Ethereum on your platform?
Yeah, so I think like because of the ETF passing in Hong Kong, I think again like it will continue to assure a lot of users, especially in the Asian region, that when a very significant financial hub in Asia has already recognized cryptocurrency as a major asset class, it is very likely that we'll see multiple fold increase in demand in the near term. This will also continue to help with crypto adoption. And personally, I think one of the more important trends that we can very much look forward to is actually like Bitcoin L2s. Again, because like with Bitcoin has been the poster child of crypto for a long time. With greater adoption, the demand for Bitcoin will increase, and this will translate to overall overall market cap of Bitcoin. And given that so many people now have access to Bitcoin, they would want to have ways to utilize the asset as well. So Bitcoin Layer 2 could be a very good avenue for a lot of these users to utilize the Bitcoin that they have on hand. And that can further spur the growth of DeFi.
And what do you think as well about ordinals and generally NFTs?
Yeah, so I think it will go down as one of the most significant movements in the Bitcoin community. And I think it has its place already, like say ordinals. It's a first of its kind, so I think it will not fade away. The value of it will sustain quite healthily. And I think it will inspire a lot more use cases further down.
And as well, what are the most interesting use cases for you in crypto and blockchain?
I think I am of the belief that DeFi offers access to a lot of users. What I know about finance today, all of it is because of my involvement in DeFi from a relatively like in the early days of DeFi. So I think in terms of use case, it's hard to just point out one specific one. I continue to believe that the best use of DeFi is really just giving users open access to all these different financial instruments that can be life-changing for a lot of these individuals.
And do you see that banks may implement DeFi, or maybe banks will work with you with Pendle Finance in future, or other traditional players will work with you?
Well, I think there will come a point in time where the conventional, like the TradFi players, will adopt DeFi. Maybe not in full, maybe not one-to-one replica, but certain sections of it. Because DeFi, one of the core propositions is that everything is very transparent. So it can help from a business standpoint, it can help TradFi cut down on compliance costs, for example. Sorry, not just monitoring costs. If that is significant enough, I think it can get, like, the value add can also be passed on to users. So I think there will be, it is quite inevitable that I think the institutions will adopt like this technology one way or another, maybe in small components.
And you as well cooperate with liquid restaking platforms. So what's your take on LRT tokens?
I think LRT tokens are very exciting because now we're still at the very, very beginning of the restaking cycle. Because EigenLayer makes everything possible at this stage, and EigenLayer just went live with one of the AVSs. And I think we still have a lot to see in terms of the development of the AVSs, and a lot of these LRTs are very aggressively trying to aggregate liquidity so that they can work, they can have better proposition for AVSs. I remain very bullish in this particular segment, but I don't have enough context and authority to comment too much about the development because things are still developing in the meantime.
And you have as well your own token, Pendle, so can you tell more about the use of it?
Yeah, so Pendle has fundamentally, so Pendle on its own does not have any utility, but when it's locked up for vePENDLE, it offers like three different use cases. So first is that it becomes a booster for the liquidity provider, yield booster. So if you're an LP and you have vePENDLE, your effective APY can go up as high as 2.5 times. And then there's also a voting mechanic. So if you are a vePENDLE holder, you can actually vote for the incentives to be channeled to the pool of your choice. And finally, after voting, you are also, like as a vePENDLE holder, after voting, you are also entitled to the swap fees that the pools that you have voted for earn. So yeah, these are the three main utilities of the vePENDLE.
And can you share as well some plans for the development of Pendle?
Yeah, so in this year, at least like in the first half of the year, we continue to be very aggressive in the points, like enabling points trading. We've done we have had pretty successful use cases with EtherFi, Ethena, and then we've also helped like the pre-token projects like Renzo and Zirkit to bootstrap very healthy liquidity. So we continue to want to be involved in this particular segment, and we want to work with very promising projects, help them bootstrap initial traction. A bigger part of this year is actually the construct of V3. So we have already started on the development of V3, and we hope to be able to launch it later this year.
And in your opinion, what do we need for the mass adoption?
I think better UI UX. I think the regulator has to also recognize this technology as an important part of an economy. And I think with these two, the adoption should come quite naturally.
And can you share as well some of your altcoin picks? Where do you invest?
I don't generally invest. My stakes mostly in Bitcoin and Ether. Yeah.
Have you invested into any meme coins?
I invested in some, exited when I lost money. Yeah. So I exited the positions with negative P&L.
Okay. And for Bitcoin and Ethereum, do you have just like you hold for many years, or do you have any investment strategy that you plan to fix your profits this cycle?
It's hard to say. At this point in time, I am still very bullish. I don't have a target price in mind at the moment, but depending on how the market goes in, let's say, a year, I might have to take some money off the table. I don't know.
So you think this bull market will last around 1 more year?
Possibly. My impression is that a lot of it is quite dependent on the macro economy, and yeah, there are still rate cuts that we can expect. Maybe not as many times this year, but we'll see.
Okay, great. But hopefully, bull market will be much longer.
I hope so.
Yeah, thank you for sharing with us what's happening with Pendle and your views on the market.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.